there because I'm sitting here. My daughters went crazy for Father's Day and bought me this chair. I don't know how much it costs. I think Medicare will probably pay for part of it. But it'll pick you up and stand you up so you don't have to struggle to get out of the chair. So it's a neat toy. Now all I got to do is keep the grandkids off of it because they think it's a ride or something. You know, crazy question. How many people love their wives?
Yes.
Get them hands up, boys, unless you want to get in trouble. And of course, it works the other way too. It's something beautiful that the Lord gave us. Now, there's a lot of people make jokes and all kind of stuff about difference between men and women, and you know, one guy said they took Adam's rib to make the woman, and obviously that part is what we used to be able to read minds with. So they say jokes like that, see? And really, God made it right. He made it perfect. If there's anything that isn't right about it, it's our doing. Okay? Right now, I don't know what I'd do without my wife. I can hardly get dressed. And, you know, she's there dressing you like she never had a Ken doll, so. I guess I'm him now. But if I could have Proverbs 18:22. That one's not on, is it? There you go. Whoso findeth a wife findeth a good thing and obtaineth favor of the Lord. Now, if you got a good study Bible, that word thing ain't there. Okay? You ladies aren't things. You call somebody a thing, and boy, you're going to get pushback. It was put in there to make it grammatically correct. Because what it says is, whoso findeth a wife findeth a good. Does it have to be a thing? Does it have to be anything? You found something good. Okay? And you obtained favor of the Lord. Why is that? Because she's going to compliment you. Okay? When you do geometry, you have complementary angles. Remember? So whatever that angle is, to make it 180, you add the rest of it. So whatever you lack, or whatever she lacks, you both make up for it for each other. And it's a nice way to go through life. Because you never know when you're going to lack. And so, you know, when God talks about his people or his church or anything that has to do with him being married to us, he's serious. Okay? He didn't marry us with the idea, well, if I get tired of you, I'll go find somebody else. Okay? Divorce should not even be in our vocabulary. I heard of a lady who had 4 daughters, and she told each one of them, I'll pay for your first divorce. Now, is that something to tell your kid? You should be taken out to the woodshed for even saying that. You don't put that idea in your kids that there's an out. Okay? You work at that. You do whatever it takes to make it work. And usually that means you have to change. Everybody likes the other person to change. I want to still hang out with the boys, and you have to like it. No, that's not how it works. You trade in the Mustang and you get a Caravan. And you don't spend time with the boys, you spend time with your children, whether they're boys or girls. And it's a whole new lifestyle. Even when you're first married, it's not the same, is it? You're still boyfriend and girlfriend, kind of. You can jump in the car and go do something, whatever you want. You're footloose and fancy free. And that first kid tells the story. Okay? And so you have to start dropping things off that don't matter, that, are not important. Now you're responsible. You have to do other things. You have to go to work, not just when you feel like, but you got to keep a steady income coming, because those kids are going to need all kind of stuff. Lucky you're not a bird, because you'd be spending 24/7 chasing down worms and bugs and bringing them back to the nest. And as soon as you bring them back, they eat them. Go get some more. And so, but it shouldn't be a burden. At first when I had my first child, I go, well, boy, this changes a lot of things, and it sure slows down when you want to go somewhere or do something. But after a while, I said, I cannot imagine not having. I was missing this all my life. And it's a change that comes on gradual, but you like it. Okay? If you don't like it, there's something wrong with you. Go get it with God and say, Lord, why am I stupid? Help me. Help me think like you. And he will. But anyway, when I was going with Nancy, we were 900 miles apart, so we weren't having dates. Well, we were writing letters. There was no internet yet. It was just starting. And I didn't have her phone number. And then finally they gave me her phone number. And that was so expensive. I said, we better get married or I'll be bankrupt. Getting $300 and $400 phone bills. Plus I'd have to call her where she is at. It was party lines. How many people? 8 people on your party line? You don't know if they're listening. You don't know if you're tying up the phone too much and they need it or something. And so, yeah. we decided we better get married. But it was a new feeling that I hadn't had in a long time, having a girlfriend, okay? When I I remembered this virtuous woman thing in Proverbs, and I started reading it and reading it and reading it and reading it and reading it until finally I had it memorized. And I would drive around in the truck going, who can find a virtuous woman? For her price is far above rubies. The heart of her husband doth safely trust in her, so that he shall have no need of spoils. She will do him good, not evil, all the days of his life. Makes me want to cry. That God put this within reach of us, and all we got to do is reach out and receive it. And and then the more I read it, it wasn't just a man and a woman here. This is God and His church. This virtuous woman, you look up that word virtuous, it means something strong and praiseworthy and all that, but it also means an army. Okay, so this woman isn't just one person. It's the church. And as you read it, you see different things. It's a parable. God likes to talk to us in parables, and that's how we understand things. Certain spiritual things, it doesn't register, but if He shows us something we can grab a hold of, then we can implement it and it becomes spiritual. So, if we go to Proverbs 31, what? Oh, well, we can start at the beginning. I'm not going to spend too much time there. The words of King Lemuel, if you don't know who that is, it's Solomon. Okay. The prophecy that his mother taught him. Did your mom teach you a lot of stuff? Hopefully she taught you stuff in a good direction. And that's what mothers do. Okay? And you can read those first several verses because she's telling them, watch out for women. And she's not meaning that in a mean way. She's just saying, watch who you give it's not just women, but watch who you give your strength to. Okay? You want to march in a parade? That's giving your strength to a wrong thing. Okay? And so there's a lot of things out there that are trying to get our attention and use us and get a hold of our strength and add it to theirs. And so we got to be careful. And some things sometimes look like good things, but you got to be careful. Amen. Find out who they belong. What's their deal? Some of them are just fronts. Okay? And so, in verse 10, That's where it starts out. Who can find a virtuous woman? For her price is far above rubies. When you think about Ephesians 5, it says, husbands, love your wives as Christ loved the church and gave himself for it. A lot of men like to get married, but they don't like to give themselves. Okay? When you get married, you are giving yourself. Your authority isn't to boss people around with. Your authority is to make them prosper. And anything that gets in the way, that's what you boss around. Okay? So anything that is a roadblock to your family prospering in the Lord, that's what you have authority over. And you need to make a atmosphere in your house for that to happen. And so, remember that word rabbah means to multiply. It means everything that makes anything bigger is that word. And we'll run into it in this. It means multiply, it means add, it means lengthen, it means excel. There's like 30 words, they're all in that vein of something expanding, increasing. Okay? So there's like 30 words, and none of them says, I'm the boss of you. In Proverbs 29:2, it says, when the righteous are in authority, the people rejoice. When the wicked beareth rule, the people mourn. Beareth rule and in authority are two different ideas. Okay? You would like politicians if they were looking out for you, wouldn't you? Right now, I can't take a lot of bumps. Somebody forgot to fix the darn roads. So how come the roads aren't fixed? And so, that's just a little thing, okay? When they start making laws that are immoral and telling you have to do them, and a lot of people go, what are we going to do? Not do them.
That's right. That's right.
The guy said, you have to do this divorce stuff. I said, no, I don't. Yes, you do. It's the law. I don't care what your law says. God's law says I hate divorce. And I believe God more than a bunch of stupid men sitting around drinking whiskey and then making laws. That's one of the things it says there in Lemuel. Princes and kings shouldn't drink strong drink because they forget the law and they pervert it. So, this church that God is, when you were looking for a wife, you were looking for Miss Right, weren't you? And she was looking for Mr. Right. Well, does anybody luck out and find the perfect thing off the rack? No. So God took us off the rack with all our one arm longer than the other, and whatever needed to be tailored. And He's tailoring us to be that virtuous woman, to be that congregation that works together I mean, there's a lot of work needs to be done. But he loves us so much, he's willing to put up with it and do it. How many people would go down the street and grab the first woman they see, or grab her out of a bar, or grab her out of a brothel or something, and say, that's my girl? That's basically what he did. Okay? He didn't take us in a perfect, everything is right. Even when you find Mr. or Miss Right, when you live with them for first couple of years or something, you find out all the wrinkles. But what does he say? He says, we're to present our wife without spot or wrinkle or any such thing. Okay? Once he told me that, I said, well, Lord, I can't make her do what I think is right, and even if I did, how do I know that what I'm thinking is right? That's when he started telling me about using my authority to help my wife and my children and anybody he puts under my authority for any reason to prosper. I wish that you would prosper and be in health, even as your soul prospers. Okay, that word prosper does not mean Cadillacs and houses and that kind of stuff. It means advancing in the kingdom. Okay, if you're not advancing in the kingdom, you're not prospering. You can have billions and billions of dollars. And when you get the billions and billions, you'll spend it on stupid stuff because you don't know where to spend it. You'll put yourself in a little submarine just to go down and look at the Titanic. They were all billionaires. $240,000 to take that ride down there. I was in the Navy. I could have been on submarines. No, I don't do submarines. Okay? As well built as those things are, we have lost some, and they didn't know why. All it takes is something to fail that's critical in keeping you alive. I did the calculations. Down at 13,000 feet, you're close to 6,000 pounds per square inch on your body. Okay? That's not 6,000 pounds on your body. That's 6,000 pounds on every square inch of your body. Okay? Figure out how many square inches your body is and multiply by that, and you'll find out that you are really got a lot of pressure on you. And if anything fails, and that's what they said, the pressure unit failed, it's just like taking a pop can. There's nothing to stop it from squashing. So, just because you got money doesn't mean you're prospering, does it? Those people spend a lot of time awake at night worrying about losing it. Because they know what it took to get it and how quickly it can be gone. At least the smart ones do. So, anyway, let's get back to this. God took a people that were not a people, and he made them the people of God. We would all like to have that perfect woman or man and get married to him. But that ain't how it works. You get married, and then you find out all the wrinkles in them. And now, do you love them enough to put up with that? Let's say it, put it that way, until they change? And are you willing to stick with it until they change? Even though it might take years? Okay? You don't give up on somebody just because you are weary in your well-doing. You ask the Lord for more strength. And you pray. If you don't pray, you're not going to get anywhere, because it's going to take God changing some things in that person, flipping some switches that you and I can't flip. Okay? He's going to change that person from glory to glory. And that takes time. Nancy and I just had 28-year anniversary. And I'm sure there's times, in fact I know because she told me, where she would have liked to, because some things need to change and I'm not either seeing it or not willing to do it or whatever. And she has to realize there's a couple of times when I felt like that. Give up on her. No. Love her too much. God loves us so much, He's not going to give up on you. Aren't you glad? And so, I didn't get very far into it today, but we're going to see in the next few weeks this woman, this virtuous woman, what her qualities are and how she reacts, and everything she does has to do with her household. This woman she's crazy dedicated to this household. You know, she's up all night long making clothes and stuff. I was thinking of Stephanie. You know, them boys are growing like weeds. And so, you know, next month, all the clothes they got on now don't fit. So you go to, I don't know, TJ Maxx or whoever you go to, I don't know, and you buy a bunch of new ones. Not this woman. She's up all night making the clothes. And you make them a little bit bigger than they need to be because you want them to grow into them and have them for a little while. But her life is like she's constantly doing something. And that's how the church should be. Should be constantly doing something that prospers the household. Whether it's clothing, food, or anything like that. And we'll see this lady, how she does it, and she does it with joy and cheerfulness. It's not a burden. What's that saying about if you like your job? I forget how it goes, but they say, if you're doing something you like, you'll never work a day in your life. I think that's how it goes. Okay? It's hard for people to understand that until you're in it and doing it. And so, I just scratched the surface today, but I know God didn't pick this church, this woman. He knew what He was doing. And he loves her so much, and he wants it to prosper. And he wants it to blossom into what it's supposed to be. It's supposed to spread throughout the whole earth. And we'll see that in the next few weeks. So I guess I'm all done now.